The chamber of the Galactic Council was a cathedral of cold light, a vast, rotating sphere suspended in the heart of the Arcturus station, where 700 civilizations sent their representatives to deliberate the fate of the known universe. Every seat was carved from crystallized stardust. Every voice was amplified by harmonic resonators that translated across 49 languages simultaneously. It was the most powerful room in the galaxy. And today, it smelled like fear. High Counselor Zarek Thorn rose from his elevated throne at the center of the chamber. He was a Velthari, tall, silver-skinned, with 6 fingers on each hand and eyes the color of collapsed stars. He had ruled this council for 300 years. He had watched empires dissolve. He had negotiated the Silence Pact of Kurion IV, the trade collapse of Outer Helion, and the extinction ceasefire of 7,000 species who had all pointed weapons at each other for 62 years. He had never been nervous before. He was nervous now. Ambassador Ethan Cross, High Counselor Zarek Thorn said, his voice rolling through the chamber like a controlled detonation. You have been summoned to hear the formal verdict of the Galactic Council regarding your species, humanity, and its continued membership within the Alliance of Sentient Worlds. Ambassador Ethan Cross stood at the center platform below the council seats. He was a human male, 43 years old, with short brown hair threaded with early gray at the temples, dark eyes that missed nothing, and the kind of posture that came not from military training but from a lifetime of walking into rooms that did not want him there and refusing to shrink. He wore no ceremonial uniform. No diplomatic sash. No status insignia. He wore a plain charcoal suit, earth-made, with no translation devices hanging from his collar because he had learned every major council language himself. By hand. Over 20 years. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back and waited. High Counselor Zarek Thorn consulted the floating data scroll beside him. The charges are as follows. Humanity has, within the span of 400 years, a single blink of galactic time, developed faster than light travel, reverse-engineered 3 separate alien technologies without formal exchange agreements, established colonies in 17 star systems not allocated to your species, consumed resources at a rate that destabilizes regional supply networks, and, he paused here, as if the next words still surprised him even after rehearsing them, 1-7. Interstellar military engagements against species who vastly outnumbered and outgunned you. Murmurs rippled through the gallery. The council has deliberated, High Counselor Zarek Thorn continued. The verdict is unanimous. Humanity is hereby exiled from the Galactic Alliance. Your colonies beyond your home star system will be frozen. Your trade routes will be closed. Your diplomatic channels will be severed. You will be quarantined within the Sol system boundary and monitored at a distance of 100 light-years. This decision is binding, final, and effective immediately. The chamber erupted. 300 species applauding, cheering, some of them making sounds that translated vaguely to relief. Ambassador Ethan Cross did not move. He stood exactly as he had stood before, hands behind his back, feet shoulder-width apart, eyes on High Counselor Zarek Thorn, and waited for the noise to die down. It took almost 2 full minutes. When the chamber quieted, Ambassador Ethan Cross spoke. High Counselor Zarek Thorn, he said. I want to make sure I understand the situation correctly. The Council is exiling humanity from a political alliance that humanity helped build, using protocols that a human diplomat, Dr. Lena Vasquez, class of 2271, drafted and formalized. You're freezing our colonies using a freeze order system that runs on software written by the Martian Technical Institute. And you're closing our trade routes using a route lock mechanism that was invented by, he tilted his head, actually, also us. 2289, we donated it to the Council as a peacekeeping tool. Silence. Ambassador Ethan Cross unclasped his hands and placed them in his pockets. I'm not arguing the exile, he said. I want to be clear about that. The Council has the legal authority to exile a member. That's real. What I'm here to inform you, not debate, inform is what happens next. High Counselor Zarek Thorn narrowed his stardark eyes. There is nothing to inform. The verdict is final. I know, said Ambassador Ethan Cross. I'm not contesting it. I'm explaining the mechanics. He reached into his jacket pocket and removed a small flat device, a standard Earth tablet, unremarkable in appearance, and held it up so the chamber could see. 6 minutes ago, when this session began, Earth's Contingency Protocol 7 activated automatically. That protocol was designed 14 years ago and embedded, legally, contractually, and with full Council knowledge, into the core infrastructure management layer of Arcturus Station. The reason we did that is the same reason humans install circuit breakers. Not because we expect fires. Because fires happen. He paused. Protocol 7 gives Earth administrative access to all systems on this station in the event that humanity's diplomatic status is revoked without a resolution period. There was no resolution period today. There was a verdict. So the protocol activated. High Counselor Zarek Thorn stood slowly. You would not dare. I'm not threatening anything, said Ambassador Ethan Cross, and his voice was so calm it was almost gentle. I'm telling you what already happened. Right now, every door on this station opens at Earth's command. Life support runs on our authorization codes. Communication arrays are redirecting through our relay network. The 700 ships docked in the outer ring have had their engine systems put into maintenance mode. He slid the tablet back into his pocket. Nobody is trapped. Nobody is in danger. Humans don't do hostages. But nobody is leaving until we have a real conversation. The chamber had gone so silent that the hum of the station's ventilation system was audible. High Counselor Zarek Thorn stared at Ambassador Ethan Cross for a very long time. His silver face was unreadable, but his six-fingered hands, Ethan noticed, were absolutely still, the Velthary equivalent of white knuckles. You planned this, High Counselor Zarek Thorn said quietly. We planned for this, said Ambassador Ethan Cross. There's a difference. We didn't want this. We didn't engineer this. We just refused to be surprised by it. He looked up at the gallery, 700 species, all watching. We've been exiled before. Not from galaxies. From continents. From countries. From cities and towns and villages. Humans have been told you don't belong here more times than there are stars in this system. We got very good at planning for the morning after. He straightened his jacket. So here is what humanity proposes. Not demands. Proposes. A formal renegotiation of our membership terms, conducted over 60 days, with binding arbitration from the Neutral Worlds Tribunal. At the end of 60 days, if the Council still votes to exile humanity, we will accept that verdict, release all station systems, and withdraw to Sol. He met the High Counselor's eyes directly. But if we're going to be exiled, High Counselor Zarek Thorn, it will be because 700 civilizations looked at everything humanity has built and contributed and sacrificed and chose that outcome with full information. Not because we were afraid of us. The silence stretched. Then, from somewhere high in the gallery, a single representative from a small, quiet species called the Aelori, who had never once spoken in open session in 40 years of membership, a voice said, softly but clearly. I second the proposal. High Counselor Zarek Thorn closed his eyes. When he opened them, Ambassador Ethan Cross was still standing there. Calm. Patient. Completely unafraid. 60 days, the High Counselor said at last. 60 days, Ambassador Ethan Cross agreed. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He simply nodded once, the way a person nods when something goes exactly as they had planned, not with triumph, but with the quiet, steady satisfaction of a species that had learned, across 1,000 years of hard history, that the room that doesn't want you in it is the exact room where you need to stay. The Galactic Council did not exile humanity that day. They spent the next 60 days, instead, trying very hard to understand them. They never quite managed it. Somehow, that only made things worse, or better, depending entirely on which side of the negotiating table you were sitting on.